Welcome back to Boxcar Children Yellow House Mystery, written by Gertrude Chandler Warner. Now remember, Gertrude Chandler Warner wrote 19 books for the Boxcar Children. This is book number 3 in the series. And today we're going to be on chapter 12. If you remember, they had landed at the old village. They had those delicious hamburgers and onions, and I believe there was some apple pie, maybe. And they went searching around the old village, but somebody came up missing, and that would be Benny. So, chapter 12 is A Hunt for Benny. Chapter 12. It was true. Benny was not there. "Well, what has happened to Benny?" said Jessie, beginning to cry. "Now, don't let's get upset," said Joe's strong voice. "I think I know what has happened. Benny has gone off by himself to find the hermit. He hasn't been gone long, and we can surely find him." "Don't you cry, Jessie. We'll go and hunt for him." "Wouldn't we save time by asking Jim?" "Right," said Joe. With that, they all ran back to Jim's place. Jim came to the door when he saw them running toward them. "We've lost Benny. You know which way to hunt, don't you?" "We think he went to find the hermit and surprise us." "Well now, the first thing is don't get scared. We've got Native Americans here in Old Village that can find anything in these woods. The little boy hasn't been gone long. Did you ask the little Indian girl to help you?" "Oh dear, I forgot all about her. I just dropped the basket and ran." "We all did." "Better go back then," said Jim. "I'll go with you. Rita's a better guide than I am. She can walk in the woods and never make a sound." When Jim told Rita, she stood up at once and looked sharply into the woods. "I saw the little boy at first," she said, "but I did not notice which way he went. I'm very sorry. We'll start this way." Rita leaned over and looked at a bush. "Yes, I think he went down this path. Keep right behind me. It is easy to get lost in these woods if you get off the path." It was a strange sight. 6 people walking behind the Native American Indian girl in a straight line down the path. Sometimes it seems as if there was no path at all. Jessie walked behind Rita. Soon she said, "Rita, Benny would never have known this was a path. He may have gone off it a long time ago." "No, he couldn't. A little boy like that," said Rita. "He couldn't get through. This is the only way he could go. He went this way all right. I can see where he stepped, and this is the way to the old hermit's cabin." On they went over rocks and stones and branches. "Now call him," said Rita, turning around. Henry put his hands up like a cup and called, "Benny!" And Joe did the same thing. They all listened. There was no answer. "We'll find him just the same," said Rita, shaking her head. "If I can't, my father most certainly can." They all hurried along. For a long time they walked without talking. Suddenly the Indian girl stopped. "Be careful. We are near the hermit's cabin. If we scare him, the hermit will run away, and then he won't help us." Slowly and quietly they all walked along the path. Then all at once they saw the cabin. They stopped, for on the steps sat an old man with a long white beard. Beside him, smiling and talking away happily, sat Benny. Whew! Benny was found. "Oh, Benny," whispered Jessie. "Shh," said Rita, but the hermit had seen them. "Come," he said to Benny, taking his hand. "You are lost." Jessie could not wait. She cried out, "Oh, Benny, you scared us to death." With that, everyone began to talk to Benny so nobody could understand a word. Isn't that true? When so many people start talking at the same time, kind of like one of our Google Meets, you can't understand a word being said. "The hermit is nice," said Benny, when he could make them hear. "He was going to take me back when I got ready to go. His name is Dave Hunter." "That's right," said Jim. "His name is Dave Hunter." But the hermit surprised them all by turning his back. He went straight back to his cabin, went in, and shut the door. "That's the way he is," said Jim. "He won't talk." "He talked to me," said Benny. "Most anybody would like to talk to you, little boy," said Jim with a smile. Here's a picture of the little boy and, of course, the old man who they, in this book, call the hermit. If you can see that real well. Dave won't come out again, so we might as well go back. Rita led the way back, and Henry put Benny right in front of him where he could watch him all the way. As they walked along, Jim said, You people might as well stay overnight. You can cook your own trout. I think we must stay, said Alice. Violet needs a good night's sleep after that scare. We all do, for that matter. Back at the village again, they stopped to say goodbye to Rita. Henry had put some money into her hand. We'll see you again about the basket, Rita, he said. We were all upset about Benny. I understand, said Rita with a smile. I wouldn't like to lose Benny myself. When they reached the little house, Jim said, You can stay here as long as you want. Walk right in. If you want anything, come over and ask me. Maybe I'll have it. With that, he let them go into the house alone. They went up the front steps. Henry pushed open the door and they all went in. They found a small room with a fireplace. There were a few chairs and some folding cots leaning against the wall. There was one big chest of drawers. Alice and Jessie soon found the next room, which was a bedroom. Then they found the kitchen. There isn't any upstairs, called Benny, just downstairs. Oh, Violet, do look at this little kitchen stove. I wish we could get our own supper. Jim said the campers do keep house here. And think of Benny's trout. It would be fun to cook it ourselves. Doesn't this make you think of keeping house on Surprise Island? Cried Henry. We'll need wood for the stove and some potatoes to go with our fish. I'll go and ask Jim to sell us some. I'll go with you, said Benny. Right, said Henry, so you won't get out of my sight. I really didn't mean to. I was coming right back. I wanted to surprise you and find the hermit first. He said I ought to go right back, and that he would take me himself. He likes to live alone. Joe began to set up the cots. How's this, Violet, he said. You three girls take the bedroom. I'll put 3 cots up for you. Then the 3 men will sleep in the living room. That's wonderful, Joe, said Violet. But let's make our own beds with our own blanket rolls. We love to make beds. Well, I don't, said Joe. I'll certainly let you make mine. I'll just set up the cots. The afternoon was passing quickly. Benny soon came back with his fish and potatoes, and Henry carried a big basket of wood. Nice, dry wood, he laughed. Benny said, I never thought I would just love dry wood. Then they went out again to the canoes and brought up the packs. Soon Jessie and Alice had a fine fire going in the stove, while Violet got the potatoes ready. I think we'll eat in the kitchen, said Henry, looking around. He pulled the table into the middle of the room. Benny, see if you can find 6 chairs. Violet found some heavy white plates and set the table. Jessie cut the fish into 6 pieces before she cooked it. Then she put it into a large pan. For the first time in many days, they all sat down on real chairs to eat a meal at their very own table. When they had finished supper, there was no food left at all. It's because they were so hungry. Before long, the dishes were washed, the beds were made, and everything was ready for the night. But it was not yet dark. Let's go out and sit on the front steps, said Jessie. We don't want to go to bed yet. The family went through the little house and sat down on the wooden steps. A soft wind was blowing through the trees. Soon a toad hopped out from under the steps. There's our friend the toad. You guys see him? He lives there, said Benny. I like to have toads living under our steps. They come out at night, said Joe. They catch bugs. You know, I feel as if something will happen soon, said Violet slowly. Alice turned to look at her. That's funny, Violet said. I feel as if we had done this before, almost as if we had a clue and we didn't know it. Joe surprised them all by saying, I feel that way too. And that's the end of chapter number 12. Chapter 13 is called The 10 Box again. So maybe there's another clue to this mystery. I can't wait to find out, but we've got to wait until the next day. Thanks for joining me on Listening to Reading. And remember, keep reading. Have a great day.